So there you are, you're reading a book or watching a movie, and the hero is just about to save the day with some magical doodad that is going to fix everything, and they all of a sudden lob off some Dark Lord's hand and claim some ring, and suddenly they are the person who gets all the fame, fortune, and glory of being the hero. And you're wondering, what about the person who actually made that? Don't they deserve a cut of the cred? And that is exactly what Manaforge by Mystic Tiger Games is all about. In this dice rolling resource allocation game, you are competing with your friends to have the most prestigious smithery where you are creating these artifacts for all the heroes to use. In Manaforge, players use their beautiful pastel dice to generate mana and purchase items from the supply. These items are either one-time effects resolved then chucked straight into your storage, or powerful workshop cards that can be exhausted every turn for a variety of effects, usually having to do with getting more points or generating even more mana. Furthermore, through dice, cards, or asymmetric powers in the form of talents, you can also earn mana gems, which are like stored mana that can be carried over from turn to turn, or permanently slotted into your items in your workshop, making them even more powerful and mighty, which is probably the aspect of the game that feels most in sync with the theme. On a player's turn, in any order that they choose, they can resolve up to 4 of their rolled dice, perform any number of actions, and purchase 1 card from the supply. Now, these beautiful dice correspond to the 4 primary elements in the game and are the cornerstone of your magical forgery. Not only do they produce mana of the affiliated dice type, but also they produce mana gems, which are super handy. Beyond that, they can also produce mana for the affiliated elements to their dice color, and each color or mana type has a different special ability that can be rolled. When activated, you can resolve them. For example, the wind one can be activated in order to straighten an already exhausted card, allowing you to use it another time this turn. All of these are handy. Yeah, then there are the super rad pink dice. They are pretty, they are pink, and they are arcane. They show 2 symbols on every side, and you get to choose which one of those symbols you resolve when you use this dice. As play continues, the cards you buy become more fearsome and expensive due to the arrangement of the deck. 18 dawn cards, followed by 18 noon, then 18 dusk. After 9 rounds, the deck is empty, the remaining supply is discarded, and you meet up with your smithing buddies to count up points and brag about who has the biggest longswords and most beautiful breastplates of the day. But wait, no smith is an island unto themselves. No, you need helpers. And as I said earlier, asymmetry in Manaforge comes in the form of talents. A crew of helpers that you draft at the beginning of the game, and then of the 4 that you keep, you decide which 2 you're going to discard. So long, suckers, and begin play with the 2 remaining. Not only do they have some sort of special powers that will give you a little bit of a nudge out the door and a little bit of direction to focus in the game, but they also add corresponding dice to your pool of the 4 basic dice, so that way you have an extra bit of capabilities. I really dig this system of crafting your asymmetric powers to start out the game. Here's the thing about Manaforge. Every turn is a puzzle about what you can do on that specific turn. And yeah, sure, your mana gems can carry over from turn to turn. You'll get to roll the same dice next turn, and your items in your workshop can be used every turn. But you don't know what you're going to roll next turn. You don't know what items are going to be in the marketplace, or even if you'll be able to afford them, or that your gems will even correspond to the type of items that are in the workshop. So instead, you are focused on the here and now. You start looking at your workshop items, your dice, your talents, and then your gems, and you start figuring out this labyrinthian maze on what specific 4 dice you're going to use and what items you're going to use in what sequence, and then acquire an item that is the best possible item with the best possible ability that you might even activate this turn in order to trigger more additional stuff. all to get either more resource production or more points right now. So this is what a typical turn might look like in Manaforge. All right, let's roll dice. Got a bunch of water, a gem. Aha! Okay, so if I go 2, 4, and then I convert this to water gem, and I put this here, that'll be 6, which could get me the trident, but the portal staff is worth more. What I could do, I could spend 2, put this on here, and that'll be 2 wind, and then I could get the portal staff, but then I have nothing left over. Oh, but I can flip this over to a water side, get a water gem, and then I can buy the portal staff for 7 points, and I get a mana prism. Huh. That said, I really do find the puzzle-solving element of the game fun, and it is really enjoyable. There are a lot of aha moments where you're like, I'm brilliant, of course. If I just do this, then resolve this die, and then choose to do this, and then buy this item, I can combine that with the item that I already had in order to get this amount of points and produce this amount of gems, and I'll be all set up, hopefully, for next turn. And that's great. I really love that. But I will say that by the end of the game, with a bunch of different items with excessive amounts of production or point values tied to them, the amount of computation of capabilities is going to be a little bit dense, and it's going to rely on some analysis that might be a little too opaque for some people and a little too paralyzing for others. Let's talk about the theme for a second. While it's true that each of the game's elements essentially boil down to different colors of currency, there are some moments where the theme of the game really shines. First off, it feels awesome slotting gems into your workshop, forever making them more powerful. Then the gorgeous art really cements a cohesive and imaginative world, kind of like a Middle Eastern Old Testament-y take on classic fantasy. Lastly, some really solid components like the supply board and the dice, reflecting the weird yet wonderful color palette of Manaforge, help infuse the game with some mystery and wonder. Oh, and the first player anvil is super rad. There is a lot that I really like about Manaforge. The way that you draft and combine talents, the awesome, sturdy components, the whole theme of forging these mystical objects in a really kind of exotic and unique take on fantasy. And the puzzle alone feels thrilling when you get to do some awesome combination of like 10 steps in order to get the best possible resource production and a whole lot of gems that can slot into your artifacts, and then you buy an item and add it into your workshop in order to get some more points. It feels really satisfying and like you're a genius, which is awesome. But that said, it does feel kind of shallow when the end result of this big, giant, expansive turn is that you get to buy one card and one card only, and that card is ultimately going to result in either producing more resources, giving you points, or giving you a way of converting resources into points. Ultimately, I do wish Manaforge offered a little bit more. Some other track, some other investment, something that made it as dynamic and thrilling as I'd hoped it would be. But as it stands, I do think that it's probably going to fall flat for people who want multiple paths to victory, or a lot of player interaction, or a lot of deep systems to explore. But if you're looking for a great entry point into resource allocation, or maybe you just really love custom dice and dice games where you get to make decisions based off of what you roll, or you really dig the theme and you want to step up your lightweight gaming into something a little bit more crunchy to contend with, then there is a well-balanced, totally solid, approachable, and fun, albeit straightforward, game in Manaforge. So that is the Cardboard Herald's review of Manaforge by Mystic Tiger Games. What did you think of the game, and what did you think of the review? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this type of criticism, then please let us know, and I would love it if you chose to subscribe. So thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.